Hey, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Rayge, and we are back today once again to revisit the 2024 preview and timelines of the newest characters and teams coming to Marvel Strike Force. Now, if you recall, guys, the last time I made this video, it was actually to predict and preview when exactly the Annihilator characters would be released. So we're going to be revisiting that today and showcasing how close we were. But more importantly, now that we have additional time, such as the weeks and days earned now since the last time we've done this video, we have some really good insight of when the remaining characters, especially Orchis Tech and potentially Nightstalkers, now that Nightstalkers have been confirmed in the data mines as well. So all in all, it's looking like it's as planned, but unfortunately, guys, it may not be the news you want to hear because it does appear they are pushing out free-to-play events. Now, what do I mean by this? If you recall, our analysis really started with the most recent team before all this started changing, and it was Alpha Flight. Alpha Flight needed for spotlight raids, so it makes sense. They needed to make sure that, obviously players had access to these characters to partake in the, required spotlight raids. You can see their offers coming out and their respective free-to-play event typically was around 10 days to 14 days. So most folks would have access to these characters or start earning some, meaningful amount of shards within the 2 weeks that these characters were added in the game in the way of an offer or the red star orbs, right? Now, where this started pivoting a bit and started changing, we started, looking at it twice, was actually with the Illuminati team. And recall, Illuminati team is required for the next legendary character. So we know that, they're obviously going to have a meaningful value. Shuri, Black Panther, and Hank Pym being required in that next legendary. Two of the better members of the team, especially when we're dealing with Black Bolt, Iron Man, and, Captain Brexit is not exactly available to us. So then that only leaves Mr. Fantastic. Now you can see here, Shuri Black Panther, she was quite normal, right? She came in on the 2nd of July, and then, a couple weeks later, July 15th, bang on. Then things started to really change a bit, and we felt a tone differential, especially with Hank Pym. He got introduced, shortly afterwards, following Shuri Black Panther, and then we didn't see him for almost a month, 25 days. That was a record for us to see a character getting added in the way of free-to-play. And also, we were figuring that it could have been potentially relating to the fact that the showcase event was ending. So it made sense. They wanted the FOMO folks to spend money, and that's why they planted his event right after the showcase ended, which rubbed the community the wrong way 100%, because if you think about that, fully intentional, but again, pressuring folks to spend in order to get character resources ultimately for Captain Brexit. But that's not the point here. I want to talk about how this shift in days have been changing now, because we were previously estimating this is what the Annihilators would be, right? So this is originally what I put out a couple weeks back. This is before we saw any data mines, before we knew anything happening with the releases. Gladiator came in on August 6th, respectively 14th for Gore, and then 23rd for Thanos Endgame. And now you can see that's kind of what I used as a benchmark, if you will, to pinpoint when exactly these characters would be released, right? And remember, this is before we started seeing that, oh, hey, maybe there isn't a free-to-play event. Maybe from the player voice movement, comments, and feedback, maybe potentially free-to-play events are getting phased out, especially when they commented that arena orbs is another way to get character shards. So we estimated September 3rd, September 11th, and September 19th. Now, as of September, currently, as of today, we have some data mines that we can actually use to confirm this information. And look how close we were, ladies and gentlemen. We actually guessed right on the mark of when Gladiator's event is coming, because today is the day that Gladiator is going to be released. So we got that bang on. And remember, this is before I have data mines to work with. This is all just data analysis and taking a look at trends and patterns, right? On top of that, Gore is now officially confirmed to be the monthly character for September. So he's going to be added into the next rotation here in a couple of days here, once this current month end actually wraps up. And that's for Thanos Endgame. I stand by that point. Because of Gore coming in on September 9th, it's very possible Thanos Endgame probably will be more on the 16th, 17th mark. But I want to leave my prediction here so that way we can further come back to this and analyze. Because, again, I don't want to cheat and make a moving target. But I did know and did comment that, likely some of these days would change, but it would be the same week. So I'm feeling really strong about this. Now, nothing else has been changed in this. I'm still going to show you exactly what I put in my last video, which is what's upcoming for the Orchis Tech team, and as well, obviously, the new Nightstalkers. So, once again, this is, oh, I didn't put a confirmation here, but this is pretty cool. So Sentinel, and again, guys, remember, these characters, the way they announce the characters in the blog post is the way they release it. So it's going to be Sentinel, and then it's going to be Nimrod, and then it's going to be Omega. And it's funny because today is actually September 3rd, and once again, I guessed before that Sentinel would be September 2nd, so we actually got that one as well. So that one was bang on right there. As for September 11th, that's going to be next week, which makes sense because typically once they start introducing a new team, it's usually the following week. So I stand by the September 11th, and I'll stand by the September 20th. I think those dates still make sense, even if they're plus minus a day or two. This is what's looking like. Now, what I want to point your attention to, guys, is the yellow, because the yellow is what I've highlighted for the expected free-to-play events, right? And remember, they have to go back-to-back. The reason it has to start near the end of September is because even if you look here, right, Gore's event's going to be starting off in the middle of September here, September 11th, so basically next week, right? And then shortly afterwards, you have to have Thanos endgame. It just makes sense. You can't skip a week with a character release. I mean, I guess you can. It could push everything further out, but it just wouldn't really make sense because at that point, then Thanos endgame has already been in the game for a month. So it makes sense. September 19th is pretty much as soon as you can get it. And that's why it has to start on the 27th for Sentinel, or it's going to be in the same week, maybe the 24th or the 23rd, because typically they like starting events on the start of the week. But usually they can pivot here and there. But regardless, guys, this is looking like a very strong timeline now. So we have the week of September 27th for Sentinel. We have Nimrod coming out for the October 5th weekend or week. And then finally we have Omega Sentinel coming out for October 13th, which then is a perfect timing here. That means we should see at some point next week or the week after the Nightstalkers blog post. And remember, with Nightstalkers, we were able to see that Agatha Harkness is actually the other confirmed rework character next to Moon Knight. So just something that you guys should be mindful of if you did not catch that. So that leaves us really then with the remaining Nightstalkers team here, because that's all we know that's kind of in the pipeline, right? Karen Page, probably known as Oath. It could be interchangeable with Man-Thing. To be honest, I don't know the order of either Karen Page or Man-Thing, but it can be either or. And you can see it has to follow right after the Orchis Tech team. So the soonest we can see the introduction, well, actually, it looks like them this month. Yeah, the end of this month is when we will probably see their red stars coming into fruition here. So September 30th and October 9th back-to-back. So the good news is we will see the introduction of Nightstalkers for sure by the end of this month. But their free-to-play event, ladies and gentlemen, is what you should be aware of, because it's, again, going to be another month, right? It's going to be, past the middle half of October for Karen or Man-Thing, and then start of November is when we would probably see the other character as well. So that leads me to believe, like I said, I still think Blade's the legendary character that's going to get featured here. October is probably going to be the time. That times up with everything we've seen so far with Nightstalkers. But again, this is our predictions, guys. So far, our initial prediction is holding very, very true, especially when you take a look at what's happened with Annihilators. And now, funny enough, even Sentinel getting released today. So let me know what you think in the comments below. Hopefully this is helpful for your guys' planning. I know I'm paying attention to this because I am going to be gone on vacation in a couple weeks here. So it just helps me be mindful of what events are coming up and the character releases as well. Thank you for your time as always. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.